So here's the thing about the Galactic Council. They take themselves very, very seriously. Which is hilarious, considering most of them look like they were designed by a committee that couldn't agree on what a sentient life form should actually look like. Take Ambassador Threlix, for example. 4 arms, 2 heads, skin the color of expired mustard, and a voice that sounds like someone's gargling marbles. He's currently staring down at me from his ridiculously elevated podium because of course these guys need to literally look down on everyone, with all 6 of his eyes narrowed in what I assume is disapproval. Hard to tell, the guy's got resting disappointment face on both heads. Human Jake Mercer, he announces, and yeah, he pronounces it like that, with the emphasis on the wrong syllable. You stand accused of smuggling prohibited organic matter onto Council Station 73. It's coffee, I say, because apparently I have a death wish. Literally just coffee. Ground up beans from a plant. You guys drink fermented fungus extract for breakfast, and I'm the criminal here. The left head scowls. The right head also scowls. Impressive coordination. The transportation of unregistered biological material is a Class 7 offense, Threlix continues, completely ignoring my excellent point. Do you deny these charges? I look around the council chamber. It's packed with representatives from about 40 different species, all of them watching me like I'm some kind of show. Which, fair enough, I kind of am. Humans are still the new kids in this galactic neighborhood, and apparently we have a reputation for being, quote, distressingly unpredictable, unquote. I mean, deny is a strong word, I say. I prefer to think of it as aggressive disagreement with your import regulations. A ripple of what might be laughter runs through the gallery. Or maybe they're all having simultaneous digestive issues. Again, hard to tell with some of these species. Threlix's left head turns to whisper something to his right head, which is a power move I didn't know was possible. Then both heads snap back to glare at me. The council has deliberated, he says, which is bureaucrat speak for we already decided this before you even got here. Given the severity of your crimes and your flagrant disrespect for council authority, you are hereby sentenced to ejection. Ejection, I repeated. Like, out of the station? Because I can just catch a shuttle back to Earth, save you guys the trouble. Ejection? Threlix says, and now he's smiling with both mouths, which is somehow worse than the scowling. Onto the surface of Karvoth 7? The entire gallery goes silent. I know enough about galactic geography to know that's bad. Really bad. Karvoth 7 is one of those planets with a reputation. The kind of place where they send probe droids and none of them come back. The kind of place that shows up in cautionary tales told to young cadets about why you should always follow orders. The Death Jungle planet, I say slowly. You're ejecting me onto the Death Jungle planet because of coffee. The average survival time on Karvoth 7 is 12 standard minutes, Threlix says cheerfully. Both heads are definitely smiling now, though the record is 8 minutes, set by a Kovalian battlemaster. We have high hopes you'll provide entertaining data. You guys are just the worst, you know that? But apparently council sessions don't have a comment period because 2 guards, big ones, the kind that look like they're made of spare tank parts, are already hauling me toward the exit. Or toward whatever passes for an execution chamber around here. 15 minutes later, I'm strapped into an ejection pod that's roughly the size and comfort level of a coffin. The control panel is blinking at me in what I assume are helpful warnings, but since everything's in galactic standard, and I only learned the important words like bathroom and beer, I'm basically flying blind. Through the tiny viewport I can see Karvoth 7 getting closer. It's green. Extremely green. The kind of green that screams, hello, yes, everything here is alive and most of it is hungry. Ejection in 30 seconds, says a cheerful automated voice that definitely wasn't programmed by anyone with empathy. Please remain calm and try to land on something soft. The council thanks you for your contribution to xenobiological research. Yeah, well, the council can... And then I'm falling. The pod shakes like it's trying to rattle my teeth out of my skull. Through the viewport I can see the green getting closer, resolving into what looks like actual jungle. The kind with trees the size of skyscrapers and a canopy so thick it might as well be a solid surface. This is fine, I tell myself as the pod's emergency thrusters fire randomly, doing absolutely nothing to slow our descent. This is totally fine. You've been in worse situations. I haven't been in worse situations. The pod hits the canopy, smashes through about 6 layers of vegetation, and slams into something that might be ground. Might be. Could also be a really aggressive plant. Hard to tell while everything's spinning and my brain is trying to exit through my ears. When everything finally stops moving, I'm hanging upside down in the harness, the pod's hatch is half open, and I can hear sounds from outside that I really, really don't like. Welcome to Carvogue 7, I think. Try not to die in the first 5 minutes. Would hate to disappoint Ambassador Threlix. Okay, so, fun fact about Death Jungle planets, they're called that for a reason. I managed to unbuckle myself from the harness and fall directly onto my head, because grace under pressure has never been my strong suit. The pod's hatch is jammed half open, which gives me just enough room to squeeze through, if I don't mind leaving some skin behind. Which I do mind, for the record. But staying in a crashed pod seems like a great way to become a canned meal for whatever's making those sounds outside. The sounds, by the way, are not encouraging. There's chittering, growling, something that sounds like a whale song but angrier. And underneath it all, this low-frequency hum that I can feel in my bones. I squeeze through the hatch and immediately wish I hadn't. The jungle is, and I cannot stress this enough, aggressively alive. The trees aren't just big, they're architectural. Trunks wider than my apartment back on Earth, bark that looks like it's made of scales, and branches that are definitely moving even though there's no wind. The undergrowth is a nightmare of vines and ferns and things that might be mushrooms or might be teeth, honestly too close to call. And everything, and I mean everything, is looking at me. There's a plant to my left with flowers that track my movement like security cameras, a vine above me that's slowly lowering itself down, and I don't think it's trying to help me up. Something in the bushes that has too many eyes and all of them are blinking in sequence, which is somehow more disturbing than if they all blink at once. Okay, I say out loud, because talking to myself is how I process imminent death. Okay, this is fine. You've seen nature documentaries. Rule 1, don't look like prey. I stand up straight, try to look confident. A thing that might be a bird but has skin instead of feathers swoops down and tries to take a chunk out of my shoulder. I dodge, barely, and it crashes into a tree trunk hard enough to leave a dent. Rule 2, I gasp, running in a random direction because standing still seems worse. Run like prey, definitely run like prey. The jungle has opinions about my running, specifically negative opinions. A root tries to trip me. I jump over it and nearly land on something purple and pulsing that hisses at me with multiple mouths. I change direction and crash through a curtain of hanging moss that immediately tries to wrap around my face. I'm ripping moss tentacles off my head when I hear it, a sound that cuts through all the ambient jungle noise like a chainsaw through butter. It's a roar, but calling it a roar is like calling a hurricane a strong breeze. It's a sound that rewrites your understanding of what fear means. And it's getting closer. I do what any reasonable person would do. I climb. There's a tree nearby with bark that looks marginally less hostile than everything else, and I scramble up it like my life depends on it. Which it does. Very much does. I make it about 20 feet up before I see it. The Carvalho apex. I've seen the grainy photos in the council database, the ones marked with approximately 40 warning labels and a suggestion to update your will before viewing. The photos do not do this thing justice. It's the size of a shuttle bus, built low and wide like a crocodile had a baby with a tank, and that baby went to the gym every day of its life. 6 legs, each one ending in claws that are carving trenches in the ground. Scales that shimmer between green and black, covered in what looks like moss but is probably something worse. A head that's mostly mouth, and a mouth that's mostly teeth, and teeth that look like they could bite through starship hull plating. And it's looking right at me. Nice dinosaur, I whisper, because apparently my survival instinct has been replaced with suicidal politeness. Good dinosaur. I'm very stringy and not delicious at all. The apex tilts its head and I realize it has too many eyes. Like way too many. They're scattered across its skull in a pattern that makes my brain hurt to look at. Some of them are focusing on me. Others are scanning the jungle around us. It's the kind of predator that doesn't miss anything. It opens its mouth and makes a sound that starts as a rumble and ends in this weird chirping whistle. And I, like an absolute idiot, make a sound back. It just comes out, some kind of nervous laugh mixed with a wheeze, because I'm having trouble breathing from sheer terror. The apex goes very, very still. Then it makes the chirping sound again, but different this time. Higher pitched, almost questioning. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. I know this pattern. I had a parrot once, back on Earth, before I became a cargo pilot. You make a sound, the bird makes a sound back, you're having a conversation. Except this isn't a parrot. This is several tons of murder reptile, and I think I just accidentally said something in its language. The apex starts moving toward my tree. Not charging, just walking, casual-like. The way a cat approaches something it's curious about. I don't suppose, I say to the universe in general, That I accidentally said something like, "Please don't eat me. You're beautiful and I respect you." The apex reaches the base of my tree and stands up on its back 4 legs. Its front 2 legs hit the trunk about 10 feet below me, claws sinking into the bark like it's made of foam. The tree shakes. I hold on tighter. It makes the chirping sound again, and this time I can see inside its mouth. There are rows of teeth. Rows. Like a shark, but worse. Because these teeth look like they can think. And then, because my brain is clearly broken from stress, I notice something. The way it's holding its head, the way its pupils are dilated. The chirping sound. "Oh, you have got to be kidding me," I mutter. "Did I just accidentally make a mating call?" The apex bobs its head and makes an encouraging chirping sound. I did. I absolutely did. I'm about to be eaten by an alien death monster because I accidentally proposed to it. The apex starts climbing the tree. Time for Plan B, which is the same as Plan A but with more screaming. So here's what they don't tell you in the Galactic Council Xenobiology database. When you accidentally flirt with an apex predator, you have 2 options. Option 1, die immediately. Option 2, commit to the bit and hope for the best. I'm really hoping option 2 works out. The apex is halfway up the tree now, and the tree is making concerning cracking noises about it. I'm running out of branch and rapidly running out of options. My hand goes to my jacket pocket, more out of habit than any real plan, and I feel something that might save my life, or might get me killed faster. My emergency stash of coffee grounds. The council confiscated the bags, obviously, but I'd shoved a handful of grounds into my pocket during the arrest because I'm petty like that. Now, I'm holding maybe 2 ounces of premium Earth Arabica and facing down a creature that's 90% teeth and bad decisions. Okay, I say to myself, to the apex, to whatever god might be listening, let's try this. I open my hand and blow the coffee grounds directly into the apex's face. What happens next is not what I expected. The apex stops climbing. Its nostrils flare, which is when I realize it has nostrils plural, way more than 2. All of them are suddenly working overtime, sniffing at the air like it's just discovered the meaning of life. Its eyes, all however many of them, go wide. Then it sneezes. Have you ever seen a building-sized predator sneeze? It's like a bomb going off. The apex loses its grip on the tree, falls backward, hits the ground hard enough to make the earth shake, and just lies there for a second, looking confused. I seize the moment and scramble down the tree, because staying up there when it inevitably gets angry seems like a bad call. I hit the ground running, except I'm not running away. I'm running toward my crashed pod. There's a survival kit in there, standard council issue, and if I'm going to die, I'd at least like to die with some supplies. Behind me, I hear the apex getting back up. I also hear it sneeze again, twice, then make a sound that I can only describe as interested. I reach the pod, yank open the emergency compartment, and grab the survival kit. Protein bars that taste like recycled cardboard, a water purifier, a thermal blanket, and a knife that's mostly useful for opening packages but might, in a pinch, annoy something trying to eat me. The apex appears around a cluster of trees, and now it's definitely stalking me. Low to the ground, moving with this fluid grace that something that big should not possess. But here's the thing. It's not charging. It's investigating. "You liked that, huh?" I say, backing up slowly, keeping eye contact, trying to remember everything I ever learned about animal behavior. Earth coffee. The good stuff. Makes you jumpy, makes you alert, probably makes you think you can fly if you drink too much. The apex chirps at me. It's still a terrifying sound, but now it's a terrifying sound I'm getting used to. I make a decision that's either brilliant or catastrophically stupid. I stop backing up. I stand my ground, make myself big, and I chirp back at it. The apex stops, tilts its head with all those eyes focused on me. I chirp again, different tone this time, lower, more confident. It's the same tone I used to use with my parrot when I wanted it to step up onto my hand. The universal sound of, I'm in charge here and we both know it. The apex sits down. It just sits, on its haunches, tail wrapped around its front legs, looking at me like a dog waiting for instructions. "Holy shit," I whisper. "Holy actual shit, that worked." I take a step forward. The apex watches but doesn't move. Another step. Still nothing. I'm now close enough to touch it. Close enough to see the individual scales, the pattern of moss not moss growing on its back. The way its breath fogs in the humid jungle air even though it's approximately 9 million degrees out here. Slowly, carefully, I extend my hand. Palm down, non-threatening, the way you approach a strange dog. The apex leans forward and sniffs my hand with several nostrils at once. Its breath smells like rotting meat and battery acid. Then, very gently, for a creature with teeth the size of my forearm, it bumps its snout against my palm. "Okay," I say, and my voice is shaking because I'm still terrified but also kind of amazed. "Okay, we're doing this. You need a name. Can't just keep calling you the thing that's probably going to eat me eventually." The apex makes a low, rumbling sound that might be contentment or indigestion. "Reginald," I decide. "You look like a Reginald. Regal, distinguished, absolutely capable of biting me in half but choosing not to. That's Reginald energy." Reginald chirps, which I'm choosing to interpret as approval. Over the next few hours, I learn some things about my new friend. 1. He's absolutely fascinated by the smell of coffee, and will follow me anywhere if I let him sniff my pocket. 2. He's surprisingly intelligent, understanding basic commands after only a few repetitions. 3. He's extremely food motivated, which I discover when I accidentally drop a protein bar and he swallows it whole, wrapper and all, then looks at me expectantly for more. 4, and this is the important one, he takes his role as my protector very seriously. A pack of smaller predators, things that look like wolves made of knives, tries to ambush us near a stream. Reginald dispatches them with casual efficiency, then looks at me like he's waiting for praise. I pat his snout, because apparently that's my life now, and he does this full-body wiggle that would be adorable if he wasn't covered in the blood of his enemies. By nightfall, I've built a basic shelter against a fallen tree trunk, using the thermal blanket and some branches that Reginald helpfully knocked down. He's curled up nearby, one eye open and watching the jungle, the other several eyes closed in sleep. I'm exhausted, terrified, and running on nothing but adrenaline and bad decisions. But I'm also still alive, which is more than Ambassador Threlix expected. "Hey, Reginald," I say into the darkness, "you know it would be really funny? If we rode back to that council station together, just showed up like we're on a parade float. You think that'd give old Threlix a heart attack? Both hearts?" Reginald opens one eye and makes a sound that I'm definitely interpreting as, "Yes, let's do that." "Cool," I say, grinning despite everything. Cool, cool, cool. Let's survive a few more days, figure out the whole riding situation, and then we'll go ruin some bureaucrat's whole career. Reginald closes his eye again, already asleep. Me? I stay awake a while longer, watching the jungle and thinking about how humanity's greatest skill isn't technology or intelligence. It's looking at something that should absolutely kill us and thinking, yeah, but what if we made friends with it instead? It's gotten us this far. 3 weeks in the death jungle, and I've learned a lot about myself. Mainly that I'm way more adaptable than anyone, including me, ever gave me credit for. Also that I'm apparently fluent in Apex Predator, which isn't a skill I thought I'd need, but here we are. Reginald and I have developed what I can only describe as a routine. Mornings involve him bringing me breakfast, which is usually some kind of jungle creature that I have to very politely decline before cooking my protein bars over a fire instead. He watches me do this with what I assume is confusion. Why cook food when you can just eat it while it's still screaming? But he's respectful about our dietary differences, which is more than I can say for most roommates I've had. Afternoons are training time. "Okay, buddy," I say, standing next to his massive shoulder. "Today's the day. We've been building up to this." Reginald makes a questioning rumble. "I'm gonna get on your back," I explain, like he can understand complex sentences. Maybe he can. I've stopped making assumptions about what's possible. "And you're not going to immediately buck me off into a tree, deal?" I've been preparing for this. Over the past 2 weeks, I've gradually gotten him used to weight on his back. First, my jacket, then my jacket with rocks in it, then me leaning on him, then me kind of half-sitting while he stood still. We've been building trust, which is important when your training partner could sneeze and accidentally kill you. I grab hold of the ridge of scales along his spine, the ones that form a natural saddle shape about a third of the way down his back. With a running start and what I'm generously calling athleticism, I haul myself up and swing my leg over. Reginald goes very still. "Good boy," I say, patting his neck. "Very good boy. Now just stand there and let me feel like I accomplished something before you inevitably panic and I inevitably fall off and break something." But Reginald doesn't panic. He turns his head, regards me with several eyes at once, and makes a sound that's almost approving. Then he stands up. Standing on the ground next to Reginald is one thing. Sitting on top of Reginald while he's at full height is something else entirely. I'm easily 15 feet off the ground, swaying slightly as he shifts his weight, and I can see over most of the jungle canopy. It's terrifying and exhilarating, and I'm definitely screaming a little bit. Okay, we're doing this, I gasp, holding onto his spine ridge like my life depends on it. Which it does. Now we just need to figure out steering. This takes another week. Turns out, Reginald responds to pressure cues and vocal commands just like horses back on Earth. Pressure with my left leg, he turns left. Pressure with my right leg, he turns right. Specific chirping sounds mean go, stop, faster, and please don't eat that, it might be poisonous. We practice in increasingly large circles around my camp. At first it's awkward and jerky, and I fall off approximately 60 times. But Reginald is patient, and I'm stubborn, and eventually we find a rhythm. And then one day, we don't just walk. We run. Running on Reginald is like riding a landslide that's decided to be your friend. His gait is smooth despite his size, powerful muscles bunching and releasing beneath me as he picks up speed. Trees blur past, the wind tears at my hair. I'm whooping like an idiot because this is the most incredible thing I've ever done, and also, I'm probably going to die, but at least I'll die doing something awesome. We burst through a clearing and I see it in the distance. The council outpost. It's maybe 20 miles away. A cluster of prefab buildings and landing pads cut into the jungle like a scar. I'd been avoiding it, figuring they'd just try to finish the job if they saw I was alive. But now, sitting on top of the thing they used as an execution method, I'm having different thoughts. Petty thoughts. Revenge thoughts. Hey, Reginald, I say, patting his neck as we slow to a walk. You know what would be really, really funny? Reginald chirps questioningly. We've been out here for 3 weeks, that's way longer than anyone's ever survived. They probably think I'm super dead. Documented it, filed the paperwork, moved on with their lives. I can feel myself grinning. What if we just, showed up, rode right through the front gate like we own the place? Reginald turns his head to look at me with about half his eyes. The other half are scanning the jungle, because he's a professional. Then he makes a sound that I've learned means, he's in, whatever the plan is. That's what I like to hear, I say. We're going to need a strategy, though. Can't just charge in. Well, we could, but I'd prefer to not get shot at immediately. Would damage the dramatic effect. We spend the rest of the day preparing. I use what's left of my survival kit to fashion something like reins, just loops of cord that give me something to hold on to that isn't Reginald's scales. I practice my entrance speech, because if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it with style. I even try to clean myself up a bit, which is mostly futile since I've been living in a jungle for 3 weeks, but I make an effort. That night, I lie against Reginald's side, using him as a warm, scaly pillow, and I think about what happens next. Best case scenario, they're so shocked they just let us walk in and I can negotiate my freedom. Worst case scenario, they panic and try to kill us both, in which case Reginald and I make a break for it and live out our days as jungle hermits. Middle case scenario, which is what I'm actually expecting, they absolutely lose their minds, and I get to watch Ambassador Threlix have a breakdown in real time. That scenario makes me smile. Tomorrow, I tell Reginald, we ride back to civilization. We show them that humans don't die when they're supposed to. We show them that we make friends with things that should eat us, and we show them that ejecting someone into a death jungle is a really bad way to get rid of them. Reginald rumbles in agreement, or possibly he's just digesting something large and unfortunate. Also, I add, I'm going to demand an apology, and my coffee back, definitely the coffee. The jungle makes its nighttime noises around us, screaming and howling and the rustle of things hunting other things. 3 weeks ago these sounds would have terrified me, now they're just background music. Funny how fast you can adapt when the alternative is dying. I close my eyes and try to sleep, one hand resting on Reginald's side, feeling his massive heartbeat through the scales. Tomorrow we ride back to the council outpost. Tomorrow we make history. Tomorrow, Ambassador Threlix is going to have a very, very bad day. I fall asleep smiling. The thing about making a dramatic entrance is that you only get one shot at it. So, when Reginald and I emerge from the jungle tree line at a full sprint, heading straight for the council outpost's main gate, I make sure we look absolutely magnificent. By which I mean terrifying. Reginald is doing his apex predator thing, all rippling muscle and gleaming scales, moving fast enough that the ground shakes with each footfall. I'm on his back, sitting up straight, one hand holding the makeshift reins and the other raised in what I hope looks like a casual wave, but probably looks more like I'm trying not to fall off. The guards at the gate see us coming. They do not react well. "Apex! Apex on approach!" someone screams into a radio, voice cracking with panic. Code red, code red. Why is there a human on it? Why is it moving toward us? Why is the human waving? Alarms start blaring, the kind of alarms that mean everyone's about to have a very bad day. Guards pour out of the outpost, weapons drawn, all of them looking like they can't decide whether to shoot or run. I made the decision for them by having Reginald slow to a casual walk about 50 feet from the gate. We stroll up like we're arriving at a parking valet, and I can see the exact moment everyone's brains break trying to process what they're seeing. "Good morning," I call out cheerfully. "Beautiful day. I'd like to speak to Ambassador Threlix, please. It's regarding my recent performance review." Dead silence. About 40 guards are staring at me with weapons raised and absolutely no idea what to do with them. Then someone faints. Just drops like a sack of rocks. Nobody helps him up, because everyone else is too busy having their own crisis. "Is Threlix available?" I ask again. "I can wait. Well, Reginald here might get bored and start eating the landscaping, but I can definitely wait." As if on cue, Reginald opens his mouth and roars. Not aggressive, just a friendly hello kind of roar, but it's still loud enough to set off every car alarm in the outpost and cause 3 more guards to faint. That's when Threlix appears, both heads screaming at once, which creates this weird stereo effect. "Impossible," left head shrieks. "You're dead," right head adds. "The survival record is 8 minutes, back to left head. "You've been gone for 3 weeks, right head again, really getting into it now. "And why are you on the Apex? Why is the Apex letting you ride it? This violates all known xenobiological principles." "Yeah, about that," I say, patting Reginald's neck. "Turns out your execution method is actually pretty friendly once you get to know him. His name's Reginald. Say hi, Reginald." Reginald chirps and does a little head bob that I've trained him to do. It's adorable. The guards don't think it's adorable. More fainting occurs. "This is not possible," Threlix says, both heads now speaking in unison, which is even creepier than the stereo effect. "Humans cannot survive Karvoth 7. They cannot domesticate apex predators. They cannot ride back to the outpost like... Like I'm in a parade?" I offer. "Because that's exactly what I'm doing. Now I believe we have some things to discuss, starting with a formal apology for the whole attempted murder thing. Then we can talk about my illegal coffee, which I'm pretty sure the council owes me now as compensation for emotional distress." You cannot, this is..." Threlix is actually sputtering now, all 6 eyes bulging. "Guards, arrest him." Nobody moves, mostly because Reginald has helpfully positioned himself where he can see all the guards at once. And he's doing this thing with his teeth where he's not quite snarling, but definitely showing them off. Very persuasive body language. "Here's how this is going to work," I say, still sitting casually on Reginald like we do this every day. "You're going to apologize, you're going to clear my record, and you're going to legalize Earth coffee imports because if I survived 3 weeks in a death jungle, I deserve a decent cup of coffee for breakfast. Also, Reginald's coming with me. He's my emotional support apex predator now." "This is extortion," right head yells. "This is negotiation," I correct. "Extortion would be if I threatened to let Reginald eat your fancy gardens, which I would never do. Reginald's on a strict diet. Aren't you, buddy?" Reginald makes a rumbling sound that could mean agreement or could mean he's thinking about eating the gardens anyway, hard to tell. A junior assistant, some kind of insectoid species with way too many antennae, scurries up to Threlix and whispers something. Both heads listen, both heads go pale, which is impressive given the expired mustard color they started with. "The council is watching," Threlix says quietly. "This is being broadcast to every council station. You've made us look incompetent. You made yourselves look incompetent when you tried to execute someone over coffee beans," I point out. "I'm just here to collect my apology and my freedom. And maybe some decent food. The protein bars in that survival kit taste like sadness." There's a long moment where Threlix just stares at me, both heads working through what I assume is a very complicated risk assessment. Execute the human again and look even more incompetent? Or let him go and admit defeat? Finally, both heads sag in unison. "Fine," Threlix says. "You win. The charges are dropped, the coffee ban is lifted. Take your creature and go." "Pleasure doing business with you," I say, giving Reginald the signal to turn around. "Oh, and Threlix, next time you want to get rid of someone, maybe try asking them to leave first. Saves everyone a lot of trouble." We walk away from the outpost at a leisurely pace, every guard scrambling to get out of our way. Behind us, I can hear Threlix both arguing with himself about whose fault this is, and grinning so hard my face hurts. 2 months later, I'm sitting in the captain's chair of my newly licensed cargo ship, the Reginald's Revenge, watching my co-pilot sleep in the specially modified cargo bay that cost me 3 months' salary to install. Worth every credit. The coffee import business is booming. Turns out, once the council lifted the ban, about half the species in the galaxy discovered they absolutely love Earth coffee. The other half think it's poison, but they're wrong and their opinions don't matter. I've got contracts lined up for the next 2 years, a brand new ship that doesn't smell like recycled air and broken dreams, and a reputation as the human who rode an apex predator out of a death jungle. That last part has opened doors I didn't even know existed. My console beeps. Incoming message from Ambassador Threlix. I consider ignoring it, but curiosity wins. Both his heads appear on the screen, looking significantly less smug than the last time we spoke. Mercer, he says, and he actually sounds tired. We have a situation on Draknor 4, hostile wildlife. The settlement is requesting evacuation, but we can't get close enough to extract them without significant casualties. And you're calling me because, and I can see it physically pains him to say this, you have a unique skill set. The council is prepared to offer you a contract. Hazard pay, full benefits, legal coffee for life. I leaned back in my chair, grinning. You want me to do more impossible things with dangerous animals? We prefer the term xenobiological facilitation specialist, Threlix says stiffly. I prefer the term. I'll think about it, I counter. Send me the details. If it looks interesting, maybe Reginald and I will take the job. Maybe we won't. Depends on the coffee situation at the settlement. Threlix's faces both twitch, but he nods and cuts the transmission. I look back at the cargo bay camera feed. Reginald is awake now, one eye watching me through the monitor, the other eye scanning his environment because old habits die hard. You hear that, buddy? I say to the intercom. They want to hire us. Officially. The council that tried to kill us now wants to pay us to do the same crazy stuff we did to survive. Reginald chirps, which I've learned means he's interested but wants details. Yeah, that's what I thought too, I say. We'll check it out, but on our terms this time. No more getting ejected into jungles. From now on, we arrive in style. I pull up the contract details Threlix just sent. It's actually a decent offer. Great pay, proper equipment, and a clause that specifically states I'm allowed to bring my emotional support apex predator to all assignments. I'm about to accept when another message pops up. This one's from Earth, my brother. Saw you on the news, the message reads. You tamed a what now? Mom wants to know. If you're eating enough vegetables. Also, can I borrow Reginald for my kid's birthday party? I laugh out loud. Leave it to family to see me survive the unsurvivable and immediately try to turn it into a party trick. But you know what? That's humanity for you. We look at the impossible and think, yeah, but what if? We get thrown into death jungles and come back with new friends. We take things that should kill us and turn them into business opportunities. It's not that we're stronger than everyone else, or smarter, or even luckier. We're just too stubborn to know when we're supposed to quit, and we have this weird habit of looking at apex predators and thinking, I could pet that. Has it gotten us into trouble? Absolutely. Has it also gotten us out of trouble? Also absolutely. I accept Threlix's contract and send my brother a message back. Tell Mom I'm eating fine. Tell your kid he can meet Reginald, but only if he promises not to try to ride him. That's my thing. Through the cargo bay camera, I watch Reginald settle back down to sleep, comfortable in his climate-controlled bay, with the reinforced walls and the feeding system that dispenses nutrition pellets he still doesn't trust as much as fresh jungle prey. 3 months ago, I was a smuggler facing execution. Now, I'm a licensed xenobiological facilitation specialist with a pet apex predator and a thriving coffee business. The galaxy didn't know what it was getting when humans joined the council. Hell, humans didn't know what we were getting. But we're figuring it out, one impossibly domesticated death machine at a time. My console beeps again. Another contract offer. Then another. Word travels fast in council space, and apparently everyone wants to hire the crazy human who makes friends with things that eat people. I look at Reginald one more time, sleeping peacefully in his bay, and I smile. Ready for another adventure, buddy? I ask, even though I know he can't hear me from here. On the monitor, one of his eyes opens. He chirps once, soft and content. I take that as a yes. The Reginald's Revenge powers up, engines humming, course set for Draknor 4 and whatever impossible thing we're about to make look easy. Behind us, Karvoth 7 shrinks in the view screen. Still green, still deadly, still full of things that want to kill you. But not us. Never us. Because humanity's superpower isn't strength or intelligence or technology. It's the ability to look at something designed by evolution to be an unstoppable killing machine and think, I bet I could teach it tricks. And then we do.